tortuous journey. It's been a very long, winding journey. It's been full of ups and downs, but we thank God that Nigeria has not disintegrated. So it's a work in progress. We are appreciative of the effort of the president in keeping Nigeria one and in trying to solve myriads of problems and challenges that the country has faced, from security challenge to infrastructural challenge to also human rights challenge, as well as even general developmental challenges.
Okay, Mr. Chinejo, let's look at in 3 years' time now. The president will, of course, will hand over the baton of leadership to someone else. What would you say would be, his major legacy for this country, for Nigerians?
Well, not being part of the government, and we can see very clearly that the president wants to hand over a united Nigeria to whoever is coming in after him, which possibly was why he's been very skeptical and very careful in terms of restructuring of Nigeria because of fears that it could lead to disintegration. But beyond that is also I think one of the legacies of the president will be fighting corruption. This has been a very Herculean task, but be that as it may, he has risen up to the challenge. Recall that a couple of years back in 2017, he was actually named the champion of anti-corruption in Africa by the African Union. And that has poised him to strengthen the anti-corruption institutions of Nigeria, from ICPC to EFCC to Code of Conduct Bureau, even the Nigerian police. You saw how the president recently inaugurated the Police Equipment Trust Fund to be headed by former IGP Ringi. That's part of what's going to be the legacy. The president, in a very dispassionate manner, has also graciously recognized MKO Abiola as the former president, conferred on him a national honor, and moved Nigerian Democracy Day to June 12. You recall that in time past, May 29 has been our Democracy Day, but the president graciously decided to, in the memory of that very credible election held on June 12, 1993, decided to recognize June 12 as Nigeria's Democracy Day. Also, in terms of fixing the infrastructural challenges, efforts are being made to solve our energy crisis, and we pray that he will succeed, because that actually will help unravel and solve many of our job creation challenges if we can overcome the energy challenge, from electricity to issues around oil and gas. I hope he will succeed with the petroleum industry bill to give a new lease of life to that sector, the opaqueness and lack of transparency in that sector. If he will get the cooperation of National Assembly to pass the petroleum industry bill, that will be an additional legacy. And the fact that he's also doing very well in the fight against COVID-19, even though we are not out of the pandemic yet, but it has come upon him and he has risen like a statesman to helping the country to overcome that challenge.
Yes, Mr. Ojo, you have said it all, a statesman indeed. In your own perception, generally, what do you think the leadership style of Mr. President is, going by what is happening all over the world, and especially in Nigeria?
Well, Mr. President, leadership style, in my own estimation, is somebody who prefers to delegate power rather than appropriate power to himself. So once he trusts you, once he believes in your capacity, irrespective of where you are from, northeast, west, or south, he entrusts you with responsibility. And he has been headhunting to get the best of Nigerians to work with him. So coming to realize or realizing his own challenge in terms of age and capacity, he has tried to surround himself with people who could get the job done. From his vice president, you could see that he has a very capable vice president, a professor, a lawyer, a statesman in his own right. and very energetic, who has been able to stand in for him while he was attending to his health issues some years back. So from that to the cabinet members down to his presidential aides, he has tried to appoint people who could help him get the job done.
Okay, just the last one, and quickly too, Mr. Jideojo. The president has been, internationally recognized, especially within the African continent. One, as a champion for anti-corruption, and I think most recently as a champion in the fight against COVID-19, if I'm accurate there. What do you think, or how do you think that his personality, the force of his personality, has changed Nigeria's image, on the diplomatic scene?
Yeah, the fact speaks for itself. Look at his appointment of chief of staff. He has decided to go for a top-notch diplomat, a professor of political science, an internationally recognized ambassador as his chief of staff. And then being appointed as COVID-19 ambassador, champion rather, by ECOWAS recently, also has energized him to be on top of his game in helping Nigeria to overcome that challenge. And he has offered a lot of leadership for the rest of African continent. Many African leaders, week in, week out, are seeking his opinion. Just last week, we had the president of Guinea-Bissau coming to see him to seek his fatherly advice on how he could run his country, how to form his cabinet. Several other African leaders have been trooping to see him to get words of advice from him. It shows that even though a lot of criticism attend to his leadership styles at home, he's well recognized globally. And that's why he gets invited to almost every global summit across the globe. So I think he should just keep it up and try to fasten the pace of governance, because Nigerians are actually waiting impatiently. They want to see more delivery of infrastructures. They want to see more peace in terms of dealing with insecurity, particularly banditry, elders farmers clashes, insurgency, and the issues around kidnapping and cultism. So it needs to do more in terms of security, anti-corruption, as well as economy. But as it has been said by his presidential aide, it's a work in progress. We are not where we used to be, yet we are not where we ought to be.
Well, I believe, as many Nigerians do, that the best is yet to come with the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. Thank you, Mr. Ojo.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me. Have a great day and happy weekend.
Thank you. Nigeria has been recording a steady and rapid growth in the agricultural sector of the economy as a result of the green alternative policy being implemented by the federal government in the past 5 years. Agricultural economists are of the view that the country would have been a major food crisis if not for the policies and programs of the APC-led administration. In this report, Musa Babaliu takes a look at the journey to food security and self-sufficiency so far.
It has been 5 years now that the federal government, under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, embarked on a journey. The dream is to take Nigeria out of the list of food-dependent nations to a wealthy and food-secured country. Let's eat what we produce has been the slogan of the administration. The administration came on board at a time when revenues from oil and gas dropped to less than $30 a barrel, thereby affecting the socioeconomic growth and well-being of the country. To look for other sources of income therefore became imperative, and the government turned attention to agriculture.
We thank God for the administration of Muhammad Buhari, that we are getting back into agriculture, and we hope that in the next few years, agriculture will take the front seat once again.
The first step taken in achieving these goals is identification of major challenges that made the country to be over-dependent on importation of what can be produced locally. These challenges include lack of access as well as high cost of farming inputs and farmers' inability to get financial support to expand and add value to their produce.
We have to deal with reducing the import burden of food, which is almost $22 billion a year.
To tackle these challenges, the government introduced the Anchor Borrowers Program, which was launched by President Muhammadu Buhari.
The Central Bank of Nigeria set aside 40 billion naira for rice and wheat farming in an anchor borrowers program.
A farmer will be given all the necessary input required to grow wheat. And at the end of the harvest, he's going to pay back with the produce at the prevailing market price.
The latest figures released by the Central Bank of Nigeria indicated that more than 1.5 million smallholder farmers are cultivating over 1.4 million hectares of land under the Anchor Borrowers program.
It is important for us to appreciate a government that brings about policies that are productive, that are progressive, that are positive, that are proactive.
Between 2016 and 2019, more than 10 new rice mills came on stream in Nigeria. Many of the existing mills have expanded their capacity. Several new ones are under construction.
In Zamfara State, there was this old man. He plants rice 3 times a year, and he got about 11 metric tons per hectare.
Farmers don't need to pay for the insurance separately. They don't pay premium separately. The price of the insurance is packaged and bundled into the cost of the fertilizer.
This has attracted more than $1 billion of private sector investments in the production of rice, wheat, sugar, poultry, animal feed, fertilizers, among other produce since 2015. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
We'll go on a very short break now and we'll be back with more stories. Please stay with us.
There is a lot of fake news and report circulating, especially on social media, on the coronavirus. Do not believe or partake in the spread of these fake reports. If it is not on the official website or news from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, disregard such report. Only together can we beat this virus. Only together can we overcome this pandemic. Follow the instructions and guidelines provided to combat this virus. Most importantly, stay at home. Self-isolate, regardless of your status. The virus doesn't move unless we move. Let us work together to better Nigeria. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 10 here on the network service. Now, the refusal of health institutions to attend to patients with other ailments apart from COVID-19 is causing avoidable fatalities in the nation's health sector. Chairman, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, who disclosed this at the daily briefing, appealed to chief medical directors of hospitals to reverse what he called the disturbing trend. Nitairi Ikmem tells us more.
The nation's health experts have always indicated that the risk of contracting coronavirus is higher for those with illnesses such as hypertension, diabetes, and non-communicable diseases.
Unfortunately,
the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, however, notes that such patients are now being neglected.
Truth be told, we are having more deaths from non-attendance to other diseases than COVID-19. This situation is made worse by the fact that federal tertiary institutions have been mentioned among those rejecting patients for fear of COVID-19. This is not acceptable, and we are saddened by this development. The Minister of Health has reached out to all medical directors, directing them to continue providing regular medical services so that we do not end up with avoidable death.
The task force believes that until a cure or vaccine is found for coronavirus, prevention is still the best approach.
The Madagascar herbs have been received at the Federal Ministry of Health and were found to consist of 2 varieties, one variety labeled to be for prevention and the other labeled as for treatment.
There are 2 things that we need to do. The first is what do the ingredients contain? And then the second is the clinical trials. What do they do?
Following growing demand for mass testing for COVID-19, the PTF insisted that rapid diagnostic test kits are still largely unreliable.
Recent data out of the US showed that a certain kit that was invested in was right 50% of the time. There's a growing black market on rapid diagnostic test kits in Nigeria. We have to be careful in what we buy and how we use it and how we interpret the results that it provides.
Meanwhile, more sensitization strategies are being deployed by the task force to penetrate the grassroots.
Our community engagement partners have a combined total of over 800,000 volunteers across the country that are ready to canvass Nigeria with life-saving messages.
In the event of a spike in COVID-19 cases, the PTF indicated that hotels and school dormitories may be used to isolate and treat patients with mild symptoms to free up hospital beds for more severe cases. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
And Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says aggressive and sustained media campaign has helped in bringing Nigerians to the understanding and reality of the COVID-19 pandemic. The minister said this was achieved through the robust creative messages being aired on radio, television, national dailies, as well as at the various social media platforms. He added that provision has been made for the airing of NCDC and its partners' messages for targeting the physically challenged.
Port Harcourt, Abuja having more than one radio station airing the jingles. In addition, we also have support from 40 community and campus radio stations across the country awaiting our jingles.
To this end, he explained that the revised ease of lockdown protocol has equally been published in national dailies spread across the 6 geopolitical zones.
And the imposition of interstate travel ban by the federal and state governments in the wake of COVID-19, says the House of Representatives, require strict enforcement to further curb the spread of the virus. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that this follows a matter of urgent importance by House Minority Leader Ndodi Ilumelu.
House members in their contributions noted that there are reports and trending videos of people traveling to different parts of the country in violation of the presidential order.
At a time like this, where movement is being restricted worldwide, there are videos of massive movements of trailers, travelers, mostly smuggled in trucks, carrying food items or livestock from one part of the country to another. This is a complete drawback to the COVID-19 containment efforts.
The House members mandated relevant committees to interface with security agencies in order to investigate alleged complicity of their personnel to plug such lapses. The House also solicited the setting up of a special task force to monitor and implement the interstate lockdown. A motion from Representative Awaji Nombek and 11 other House members urging intervention and investigation by relevant authorities on recent mysterious deaths in Bonny Island of Rivers State was adopted at plenary. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24, reaching you live from Abuja. We'll go on a very short break now. Please stay with us. We'll be back with more stories.
James. Our country, Nigeria, needs us now more than ever. We stand a chance to save our great country, Nigeria. A chance to rise up from this pandemic stronger and better. What will be the gain if we do not learn from other countries and observe the lockdown to stop the further spread of the virus? If we loosen our guards and allow this virus doom our very existence, then what have we gained? This is the call to every Nigerian to unite as one and stop the spread of this deadly virus. Stay at home and stay safe. Remember, the virus doesn't move unless we move. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
you.